Championship Wrestling, bringing you great wrestling action sanctioned by the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Ross.
Well, Jim, we're back, and this week we have good wrestling again. How happy are you for this?
It was cool. This in-between episode, the episode between the Clash and Chi-Town Rumble, really gave me hope again. I'm like, are you teasing me? It really felt like Lucy with the football, and I'm Charlie Brown, and whoever's in that Crockett office is just gonna take it, pull it away from me. But they teased some things that I'm down with.
Me too, man. And shout out to Blade, our buddy, the co-host of both The Hard Way and Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out, for recommending to me the sub Between the Sheets show that is Center Stage Chronicles, and it's literally from 89 on, and I'm so fucking pumped. I've been listening to a couple of those, so I'm like a month or two ahead of where we are on this show there. Dude, we got a lot of good shit coming up, so I'm very excited, especially after Chi-Town, and you'll hear in a second why we're so into that. With a little bit of precursor here. Let me get to that, because this is 5 days after Clash 5. I know we probably mentioned that in the last one, but yeah, so not a lot of development creatively here, and it kind of shows, because it really is just like what the Clash probably should have been,
It was, this in-between episode was interesting. We got Danny Spivey, now introduced as a member of the Varsity Club. I mentioned last time, that would have been a cool, he's the guy that locked them in. So that was a cool addition to the Varsity Club, kind of bulking up that stable, making them more Horseman-esque, to have more people on that squad. Spivey's a former tag team partner of Mike Rotunda from his WWF days. This episode had me IMing you, because Ric Flair comes out and does a Flair promo, and he says he respects Steamboat. And in my brain, I said, I am 97% sure within the last 4 weeks, he said he does not respect Steamboat.
Absolutely, he did.
So he just changed his mind. I reflected upon this. And maybe being a good father is a respectful thing to endeavor.
Yeah, wow. Maybe I should be there for my children.
Huh. Okay. I might give this a try. We'll see. Maybe if I lose the title, I'll have some time to spend with the kids.
Yeah.
This episode also begins the Vincent Young era.
I also
JR.
Let's go. I had Vincent Young on my notes as well. Let's get into it. I can't imagine how cool this would have been.
JR is so excited for the Vincent Young era to begin. Do you know who Vincent Young is? Who his father is?
No.
Father is Chief Jay Strongbow.
Oh my fucking God. You know what? This all makes sense, because I remember watching shoot interviews where they would talk about Chief's kid, but they would never usually even mention his name. He's so irrelevant, apparently. But I was impressed with him here, honestly.
He came out. I remember physically looking good. He gets in the ring, and JR. Oh, and of course, JR. Got to shout out JR. Good luck with your health battle.
Yeah.
But yeah, JR's a huge Vincent Young fan, and I'm like, he's blowing so much smoke up an orifice. I need to check who this dude is, because I do not remember him at all. And that's where I saw he's Chief Jay's son. And it seems like he's out of the business by 92, 93 when I look at that. And even in that last year or two, it's 5 matches a year or something like that. So maybe didn't love it as much as Dad did.
Yeah, I think there's also some chicanery there involved as well. I don't remember the exact story, but yeah, something fucking happens and he just kind of falls through the fucking floor there. But yeah, I mean, he was athletic. He did have the break dance thing, which, you know, hey, in '89 that was still relevant. People got to remember.
That was very fly.
Fuck yeah, dude. He had some fly ass moves. I mean, now he would have been cool. And I literally thought that, and that's why I wrote it down. I was like, he is the most AEW 1989 wrestler I think I've seen. You know, spots.
Yeah. So I think a cool thing is we're here at the start of the Vincent Young era, and we really get to track his progress, you know, as we progress. And we'll see when we notice he's no longer on the show.
Yeah.
Whoever calls it first.
I don't think it's long. But yeah, what else on the little mid show do you have?
Samoan SWAT team.
Yes.
We both got so excited for that. They popped up. I watched this episode before you did. They popped up. I'm like, oh my God, Samoan SWAT team.
Yeah.
You know, kind of, again, they're kind of like those people that pop around a bit. They're nomads. So you can't remember when they show up somewhere. But yeah, I got super excited. Fatu and Samu. Fatu becomes Rikishi. In a future evolution of him. He does not look like Rikishi at this point in his life. He is not carrying so much. Yeah, no, not carrying so much junk in the trunk.
No.
And it's Samu. He's cool because when I first, you know, got into wrestling, they had these videos where it was just like really oddball themes, you know, wrestling's greatest bloopers. I don't know. They were fucked ups. And they had like best tag teams or something like that. But they had the Wild Samoans. And the Wild Samoans kind of had this underling Tonga kid. And that's who Samu is. So I kind of saw him in a younger age. And then seeing him, you know, 10 years into his career, it's kind of seeing him all of a sudden in that tag team with future Rikishi. All those things hit just in the right spot for me.
And what a fucking impact. I mean, like the splash. He literally did the Rob Van Dam splash from 3/4 away from in the ring. Like, and JR even said, he's like, I mean, I think he just cleared all the way to the other side of the ring. And Magnum's like, yeah, these guys. And the other thing that I remember vividly is every manager on the floor watching, and they're all talking to each other. And I was like, man, there needs to be more of that. Why isn't Stoke and like whoever, I mean, there's like no managers. I guess like Mama fucking Wayne, I guess, would be out there. You know what I mean? But that would be that was a cool wrinkle.
I feel like AEW did that with somebody at some point in the history, where somebody came in. It was like Shark Mark and a couple other people like trying to compete for them. This was a really cool trope they used in WWF a few times. I don't really remember exactly who, but you know, wrestler would come in and it'd be like Bobby Heenan and Slick and Freddie Blassie, and they're all, you know, lined up ready to take advantage of this fresh meat to the fed.
Yes, it was great.
One other notable fact about this episode is we get a third match confirmed for Chi-Town Rumble. I now know that Barry versus Lex is happening in 2 days.
So exciting. And if you think about it, 10-month feud with no match. He turned on him last April. We're getting the match in February. That's so weird.
Yeah.
That was a weird.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But at least he didn't forget. And we know, and Magnum really cleared up for us why Lex was going for the U.S. title.
Yeah. Convolutedly.
Very, very clearly and succinctly.
Yeah. Fuck. He's and remember, guys, he's gonna win the U.S. title because if you're the U.S. champion, that means you were third away from the president, and if you're the president, then you get a world championship match. And so if you're that,
if you look at subsection 2B of the championship lineage, and be cool. He just wants to beat the shit out of Barry. I'm cool with that. Hey, I remember last year. I'm coming for you. Boom.
Hey, brother. Yeah, it was fuck. That was one thing. I mean, I think Magnum got better, but man, when it came to certain things, it was like, wrap it up. You have a lot of cachet.
Yeah, he's going from the wrestler side of I've got to, speak all the, carry up this load, and he's trying to. Yeah, it's like just not. You're a different role now, homie.
Yeah.
The Chi-Town Rumble. I got two comments for the opening. The first is that intro music is like so Casio. that's so like
Yeah.
public domain. I don't know. Jimmy Hart was, tootling in the back or something. The intro music is so Casio, and the opening montage was so weird.
So
It was just
weird.
like shots of like Kevin Sullivan, Ric Flair, not even showing you like the matchups,
Yeah.
what to expect for tonight. These people are, this wrestler and this wrestler coming together. They just threw up like random 2-second shots of different wrestlers who may or may not be on the show. We don't know. You haven't told us
Bam
much.
Bam was in one, and I went, whoa. They showed a fucking like little clip of him and fucking Barry, and I was like, whoa, that's 3 months ago. So yeah.
Yeah, it was just such a strange, it's just so compared to, I watched WrestleMania 5, which I'm already getting PTSD from the amount of shit bags on the screen. The shit bag on screen ratio is incredibly high for WrestleMania 5 for a very specific reason. But yeah, just the production for those intros, it feels like high school production.
Yeah. And they were the one owned by a television company is the weirdest part about WCW forever. It's like, oh my God. And another classic from this is, speaking of WrestleMania 5, apparently CNN did a close-up about that. They never mentioned the clash that NWA did on the same day. It's like, wow, from day one, they just never got it. So not a surprise there. Yeah, man, it was a weird intro, and it took forever to get to a match. And then we got Michael Hayes in a coke-laden promo, buddy. And I know you're going to talk about that.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, the Michael Hayes promo. He comes out. He's still riding that high from Clash 5. He doesn't even know he missed that match at the end of Clash 5. He doesn't even know he missed it. But yeah, this is actually really important. He's doing a very subdued promo to lead to one of the most important matches in Michael Hayes' career when he takes on Russian Ass Asian 2, which again we saw like a month ago.
No, hold on. This is very important, and I paid attention for this reason. It was Ass Asian 1 finally getting a rub. He got his shot. It could have very well been the same man.
We will soon find out why it wasn't Russian Ass Asian 2. Oh, okay, so Michael P.S. Hayes, he slapped a Jap last week. He's finishing his assassination of the Ass Asians. Just great. USA. You know what? I wrote down during the Ass Asian match. Damn it, crowd. Chant USA sooner.
Yeah. Fuck.
Just chant it 30 seconds into the match. Why wait? You can start beating his ass early and get it over with. But the crowd is hot for this match, but that's all Michael. That's all Michael.
And I did put that, man, he was still so over here. His promos, like, for the time were great. You got to kind of always remember, hey, the shit he was saying was working for everybody back then, Like, ooh.
I know he always had a point.
Yeah.
He wasn't just somebody who just rambled for the sake of rambling like we see with some other people.
Guys that might be purchasing Hooters. Yeah, and this is another classic, again, WCW trope of, a job match that went way too motherfucking long. Although I did like the DDT execution. The finish was great. Michael was real good at that snap like Jake with the DDT. He figured out the DDT really well, and I forgot about that. That was great.
But here's the thing, right? If you're the Russian Ash Asian, just keep that metal thing in the head. The DDT wouldn't have worked nearly as well.
Exactly. Come on, man. You're beating jobbers.
This is why I'm so much better than Paul Jones as a manager, seriously. But yeah, that match got us almost 16 minutes long.
Holy fuck. And then how about the Steamboat family promo, buddy?
Did you notice that Rick Steamboat had a little Dick Blood on his arm?
No.
His son's Richard Blood.
Oh,
and Dick is short for Richard.
Nice. And he, I did see that he had a
went a long way for that joke.
Everyone's going to love that joke. I love how I walked right into it as well. Like, no, I didn't have a clue. Wow.
appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Bonnie was
No,
there
yeah,
front and center because she had to get the attention, of course.
yes, and Bonnie, lovely woman. Ricky again. Bonnie loves Ricky, and that's good enough for Ricky. He doesn't need to hook up with Denny's waitresses. But she is wearing a fancy lady dress, which is my favorite like 80s wrestling thing, is just everybody in an evening gown or like a dress for the ball for fancy ladies. Because when you were a child of the late 80s, the only fancy women you knew were Princess Di, the Golden Girls, and Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And so Miss Elizabeth is what a fancy woman looked like. And every other woman who came into wrestling kind of just had to follow that same, I'm wearing my cocktail dress to the ring, where I'm going to get beer spilled on me by some coal miner. I don't know.
Well, and listen, there were definitely a lot of angry coal miners because next, this is going to be a weird segue, but next is Butch Reed against Sting in a weirdo, like, I'll say this, if this was in Mid-South in 85, this would have been fucking the shit. Unfortunately, it was not.
This was, again, it's one of those cool things, I guess, about them not telling you what the matches are, is this actually elicited an ooh from me. Like, Butch Reed was on my screen, and all of a sudden they're like, and Sting. And I was like, ooh, like, I didn't expect this. This sounds great. I am here for this. Like, a nice surprise, a pleasant surprise. I'll take this. And I did the ooh. JR does his sports comparison thing again. He equated Sting as like Larry Bird or Magic.
Okay.
I have no clue what that means.
No.
He can pass the ball. He can shoot the 3-pointer. I don't know. And I think my favorite part of this match is kind of one of my favorite things recently is Teddy Long's reffing.
Yes.
I love Teddy's dumb referee missing everything, and I love that it led to the pin. Yes. After noticing for the last couple of weeks that it led to the pin, I was like,
that's one of the few George Scott things that is great, is he would put over a ref. I mean, he always, the rules mattered. So here it worked. And I was with you. Like, I fucking love Butch Reed. The first time I ever saw Butch Reed as a child, it was the WrestleMania 3 videotape, obviously years later, but still love Butch Reed. From that day on, I was like, I fucking love Butch Reed. I need all of it. So then when I found Mid-South, where he was the top guy, I was like, oh my God, Butch Reed rules. Here, he's post WWF, and he's still in shape and stuff, but he's definitely at the end of his career, I would say. Obviously, he has the Doom run the next year that's a monster and great, but like outside of that, I think he does like, then he do like a weird cage match at Super Brawl 1 or something against Ron Simmons. That's like the blow off, I think.
I don't remember where he goes, but again, the weird thing is he's with Hiro Matsuda. And it's like Hiro Matsuda is with the Two Horsemen. So, like, is he a horseman? Is he, like, Hiro Matsuda just has, like, a couple different groups of, like, if a corporation buys you, unless they segregate, but if a corporation feels like you'd be bringing your resources together and not keeping them apart, and neither of them speak very much. So, I guess we'll never find out.
So I guess apparently, yes, they did want to officially make him a horseman, but then George Scott, again, was like, no, we need a new thing. So he made the Yamasaki Corporation, which sucked. So, I mean, honestly, I'd have much rather them just, hey, go with your IP and have Butch be a horseman. That would have been dope. That would have been so cool. But
can I give you a sobering public opinion thing? I'm looking at Cage Match right now. The first match, the Michael Hayes match, is higher rated than the Sting match.
Wow.
A 386 to a 377.
Good Lord.
I don't think I'd go that far.
I would never go that far. No. That's a silly take, by the way. Everyone that voted that, you don't know what you're talking about.
The first match has 6 votes. The second match is 39. So you get that a little bit. You get 2 people giving it a 5, maybe, or 10, maybe. I don't know. One person fucks up. With 6 votes, one person can really fuck up the voting there. 3 at 6 is far too generous for that first match.
A lot of Butch Reed hate, I'm assuming. A lot of hate for this next guy,
Uh-huh.
Paul Lee promo. This was funny because, again, we have Dennis Condrey running out of Dodge. And the way they do this is he's somehow lazier than the Dan Spivey debut. I brought this guy in, Jack Victory, because you don't know anything about him. Okay. What a great, reason to bring a guy in. You don't know who this guy is, which, by the way, buries the shit out of Jack Victory right away. It's like, this job guy, we're elevating somehow, or acting like it, because let's just say that doesn't go over well. He's very impressive in the match, though. I'll give him that, but this promo is like, fuck.
So what do you know what the actual Dennis Condrey story is?
No idea. From what I understand, from his perspective, all I've ever heard him say is literally had a disagreement with Turner. Probably old school. I want a bigger check, boy. Bye. And then they just went, okay, Dennis Condrey, we don't care who you are. We have Jack Victory.
Yeah, this promo is definitely the first indicator. This is spiraling weird.
Yes.
Dennis Condrey, the person who specifically has the beef of origin with Jim Cornette, is not in the match. Also, it is a loser leaves a WCW match. Jack Victory gets pulled in. And if I'm Jack Victory, I'd be like, wait, what the fuck? If I get pinned, I leave the company? No, I'm not doing this. We know who Jack Victory is. He's Russian ass Asian too. And he's the blackmailer. Why don't you complete the story arc for the blackmailer? And now he's been forced to leave WCW. Guys, do I have to write this 25 years in the future?
Well, hold it. A little foreshadow, by the way. You do know what they do out of this, right?
I don't totally remember.
The infamous Secret Service Jack Victory is soon to come.
See, man, you should have made it the blackmailer.
Yeah,
but Randy Rose ends up getting kicked out. Just spoiler.
Yeah, that's the best part of this.
The whole thing is so fucking convoluted and weird, and just it's like a car with the dent in the door and the window missing with the tape over it. It's just weird from the start.
I love about this, by the way, the classic thing is okay, well, one of the managers is going to take the fall, right? That's the way to get out of this, would be conventional thinking. So what they did is worse than even being let's tease that and then go another direction. They went, let's have the guy that has nothing to do with any of this get pinned. Randy Rose is just there. Almost as bad as Jack Victory. He was literally just brought in as the second guy for Dennis Condrey, and Dennis Condrey, again, being Dennis Condrey, I mean, no heat against him, I guess, but fuck, brother. You can't even show up to the pay-per-view. Fuck.
Yeah, it's just funny because we entered the event knowing 2 matches. This was one of them.
Yeah.
And this match just got fucked sideways. It's just so funny, and the managers going at it. It was fun. Jim and Paulie going at it. Jim Cornette in his full coverage red spandex.
It was so good.
I appreciate the full coverage. Yeah, but that was a fun part of the match. This match also had me write down the dude with the orange ski mask is better than all fan signs.
Yes. I loved that. I noticed that as well, and I was like, man, that's so late 80s, early 90s. I don't know why it hit me with that. You know what I mean?
Bro, You rocked that for the full show? Like I would be sweating my head. Like he's rocking that orange ski mask. And then yeah, bye Randy. We're not going to really miss you. That's fine.
That was awesome.
Paulie has better things on. Paulie has better things on the horizon.
Yeah, Secret Service, Jack Victory. Apparently, who knows what the fuck happens. I think Eddie Gilbert ends up finally turning heel. Let's hope to God. We have another promo. It's Bob Caudle with Flair and Matsuda. This is the most unnecessary promo. It is just Ric Flair's greatest hits. And the only thing of note here is he really does kind of like precursor it with I'm not worried about fucking Steamboat. I'm going to go out on the town tonight. That's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm worried about. So, you're just going to watch me win again, which I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just worked on a lot of nada.
A lot of nada, man.
Just the same 10 lines, just in a different order.
I mean, I'll be honest. I always never subscribed to the Flair's the greatest of all time thing. For one, that's a tough argument to have, period. But for me personally, it's like a tie-ish between two guys. It's, Terry Funk and Harley Race. Flair might be third to me, maybe. Probably not, honestly. Flair probably would be under Brett for me. I even at a young age, I think after like the third main event I saw of Flair by like 94, I was like, he just kind of has the same match with every single guy. It's just like match A, B, C. Like if he's big, it's a B match. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, I don't have any interest.
He's formulaic, but a more entertaining formula possibly than Hogan, yes, depending on your perspective. But it was just kind of thing like where each match has had the same beats, kind of going up to the end. So, one second, please.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Just a Flair promo of just the same. Look from 3 weeks ago, it's the same exact thing.
This was awesome though. Rick Steiner defending the NWA World Television title against Mike Rotunda. This was awesome. I actually put down at one point, this could have been a late 80s New Japan match. It was physical. It was good with the mat wrestling, like shit that you only see like now in terms of like the Josh Barnett style, the blood sport shit that everyone's into. They were doing that here. They were just like, we're going to do an amateur wrestling match, show everyone we can do it, and then we're going to beat the fuck out of each other on the floor. Sound good?
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that, because a thought occurred to me during this match, and I'll hit it probably later, but a thought occurred to me in this match that comes back to the amateur wrestling. The first thing about this match that got me excited, Scott Steiner. Scott in his acid wash jeans with his mullet coming down to the ring. He's so of the time. But yeah, Scott Steiner accompanying to the ring got a pop out of me on the couch.
That was cool. And obviously, what a beautiful little foreshadow. By the way, not intentional, I find out. He was not under contract actually yet. This was like him just because it's in Chicago and, close to Michigan. I think he was in town. Oh, well, yeah, that probably fits with some sort of something, February-ish. I don't know. Either way, he was probably in town. They were like, oh, great. Just drive on down to Chicago with Rick and we'll have you do a little. And it made sense, right? The equalizer. He's already in the business. If he needed to take a bump, he could have. This was great. And it added intrigue. If that's his brother. It's like dramatic now when Rick gets hard weighed on the floor later and fucking beat in the head. And that was another one where I went, wow, they fucking turned it up. I mean, they had like a technically sound, stiff match, and then they just went, and then we can just brawl now. And I was like, okay, this was really good.
If you were reading the magazines at the time, you knew about Scott Steiner on the horizon. You knew Rick Steiner, his brother, was kind of coming up in the minor league system, if you will. So to see him appear finally after reading about him for a bit was definitely that excitement factor. This match had a weird thing I messaged you about. A weird just spotlight on the crowd. like in the upper levels. And I'm just like, is that light in their eyes the whole time? I just had so many questions about the crowd at that point. I was happy to see Matt's outside because, like you said, they brawled outside. Just those elementary school tumbling mats outside. I'll take that over the bare concrete that we've been dealing with. And then the match ends. Yeah, like you said, just kind of a really brutal, fun wrestling match, back and forth. And it ends with Steiner going for a sleeper, laying on his back. And I asked, 2 episodes ago, I think, does Rick Steiner understand the concept of time?
Nope.
Does Rick Steiner understand that, pinfall can happen before a submission? Like, one does not supersede the other. You can't be pinned with your shoulders on the mat, because he did not seem to get that concept at all.
That was good. Yeah. But we're 2 things I did want to highlight before the finish. JR shits on WWF. We're not like other federations. Our guys are athletes and graduates. And literally as he's saying this, by the way, Rick Steiner's getting beat bloody in the head. And I'm like, well, at Michigan, that doesn't mean much right now, seeing as he's getting beat in the fucking head wide open by Rotunda. And then how about Kevin Sullivan threatening the dog on the mic? That was a little like, ooh, you couldn't do that now. People would be very upset. I'm sure they were even then, but man.
MJF could do that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Ricochet could probably do that now too, I think. He stole a man's leg. Come on now. But okay, so Kevin steals Spike and runs away. And I'm literally like, Scott, do your fucking job. What the fuck are you at ringside for if you're not there to save the damn dog? Rick has to focus on that too. He has to multitask while wrestling, while Scott's just standing there with his cool mullet.
Fuck, man.
Get to work, Scott.
He was useless as fuck in this. I was like, why is he here? That's how I know for a fact it was not planned. It was like, he's here. George Scott went, wonderful. And they went, fuck me. That's horrible. Speaking of horrible.
Yeah, it was during this match. Well, it was during this match with the wrestling, between and really kind of made me appreciate the modern style. Because back here, it just seemed like 75-80% of the wrestlers came from this amateur wrestling background. So everything was kind of the same. It was, the headlock for 5 minutes and things like that. And to me, it's so much more satisfying now. Even when you get to a jobber match, you mix in MMA styles, you mix in lucha styles, and there's that saying, styles make fights. But when everybody has the same style, it just becomes less interesting. And the thing is, it's not this match I'm talking about, but it's the fact that everybody else has that same background and kind of carries, every match is like, headlock, 5 minutes, chin lock. And I'm more excited for the matches now that we've seen these blending of styles and people have more versatility, especially when on the mat in those vulnerable positions.
Oh, yeah. So very good. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, they're talking about Steamboat having a judo background, which I don't see in his Wikipedia at all. It also says that he has a wrestling background. I don't know if it's just because he's exotic looking, but at least his chops were more interesting, like I said, different than what we've been seeing. So,
yeah. Well, before we get a great U.S. title match, we get a really unhinged Road Warriors promo.
You know what? Never mind. Okay, I made a mistake. I'm good. Yeah, no, Road Warriors promo next.
It was very unhinged to the point that, like, I really didn't write anything down. I just heard Hawk say something about Chicago's the OK Corral tonight. And I was like, oh, God. And something about they don't use bullets to take down guys here. And I was like, you did too much before your promo, Hawk. Sorry.
I kind of I hadn't made a connection before that. Oh, they're in Chicago, their hometown. And so that was just oh, fuck, we're getting Road Warriors in Thunderdome, basically. So definitely got excited for that. Every time they say tell him.
Oh, man.
Tell him, Hawk. Every time they say it, I laugh. Because all I can hear is just the Outrunners talking. It's just the same shit. It's just so... tell him is greater than any Rickism.
Oh, fuck yeah. Joe.
Whoa! Go down bars. I love you guys. Just madmen. Love you. You and Paul Ellering in his Jungle Cruise fashion wear.
Oh God, he was full Jungle Cruise here. He was like a Jungle Cruise detective here with the hat. I was like, what do you? Where's the fucking monocle? I'm waiting. Like,
did you come back from filming?
Are you on fucking Indiana Jones, brother?
That's what I'm saying. Are you filming Last Crusade right now? What are you doing?
Man. Unbelievable. God, that's the shit though that was so cool about 80s wrestling. That like even like Attitude Era wasn't that campy, you know? Like they were a little too serious almost. Like everyone, you talk about same fucking by 98, everyone's wearing the same like fucking carpenter jeans and the fucking boots and the cool tank top with the choker chain. You know, everyone looked like a fucking douche bro. Anyway, speaking of douche bros, Lex Luger against Barry Windham for the NWA United States Championship. And buddy, this was phenomenal. I loved this fucking match.
After you were saying how much you liked it, I went back and kind of rewatched it again just to kind of, I figured you'd want to talk about it a lot. So went back, but really it has a Godzilla versus Kong feel. Just these two tall beasts and just being unleashed on each other and causing havoc.
This is like, I always look at wrestling like this, and this is a prime example of what I always envision as like a perfect wrestling world where you can have a main event scene where it's really just based heavily on who's over, you know, and you know, it doesn't matter how old they are, how skilled they are in the ring, blah blah blah. And then you have like the real main event where it's like the two best, youngest, you know, guys that people that get wrestling love. And I feel like in 89 this was that match. Like these are the two guys, and people have to remember, you know, Sting was a star for sure. He'd been made, but Luger was a bigger star at this point. And Luger was definitely, I think, in my mind, the more I watch it and the way he's on every show and talked about on every show, he clearly in everyone's mind was going to be the guy that Flair put over the big time when Flair either left, whatever. And obviously that does not occur. It was Sting. But here, it was fucking Lex Luger's company. And this match really, I think, was the first time where you go, damn, he's the fucking guy. He's the guy. Flair's got the belt and everything, but everyone probably even knew then, like, he's just either, if it's kayfabe, he's a heel, so he's cheating to keep it, so whatever, it's not even real anyway. Or if you're still a mark, or if you're smart anyway, you're like, well, it's political. You know what I mean? They keep it on him because Turner bought the company off of his star power. Yeah, that's why I love this match. And it's also a sad one because I do believe this is Barry's last match in NWA until he comes back from WWF. And there's a lot of tomfoolery. Yes.
Wow, strange. I did not know that.
If it's not, it's close. It's a dusty situation because there's this whole situation where if you notice he sells the hand here. Apparently, he legit had a hand issue. He told them, I'm going to go take time off and get this hand fixed. Well, in the meantime, you got to remember, it's 89. Contract tampering's not a thing, really. Vince comes calling, and he answers the call and becomes the Widowmaker. And the whole thing is based on WCW. There's a lot of heat there, too. When he comes back, it's like a big deal to like get that cleared because last they heard, they were asking Barry, all right, when's surgery? And he wouldn't tell them. So it's the classic, like, I'm going to go get surgery, but I'm going to go for Vince. And so that's what this is. But you know what? Barry did business, though, on top of that, at least in the ring. You know what I mean? He drops the belt here. Great finish. That was amazing how they sold the hand juice. He fucking blades his hand. Holy shit. You don't see that anymore. Like, people just blading their bodies. I think the only guy that would do that would be like Eddie Kingston, you know?
Yeah, the match was, I mean, it was like I said, Godzilla versus Kong. Lex bleeds first
yes.
From the head. That immediately gives us PTSD. of the
Does
Starcade
it?
finish. Because go, and this is where things get really weird because you don't understand it as a child of this time, and you might not understand it nowadays. But back then, many states had their own state athletic commission that adhered to their own rules, and they are corrupt as hell. And that means, at Starcade, a bloody Lex Luger means match is over, but in a different state, it doesn't mean that. And so those are things that they actually kind of explain. They said something about the state commission at ringside and that they're keeping an eye on it. I think JR drops that. But like I said, this is kind of, and that's the difference where back then wrestling was a real sport. So it was covered by the state athletic commission. Now when Vince comes out and says, no, it's all fake. These are, then all of a sudden now it's sports entertainment. It's not covered by those athletic commissions anymore. So it gets really weird and murky, but just know it's corrupt as shit.
Corrupt as shit. And by the way, speaking of Vince's little announcement of that is around this era. If it is not already happened, it's within a month from happening. So yeah, and even after for NWA and a lot of let's just say rural states, the athletic commission even to this day is strong. Places like Kentucky, probably Alabama, Mississippi, I know Tennessee,
Oklahoma, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely,
because they were freaking out about Nyla.
Yeah, I'm from around there. They're very intelligent people.
This match is a little over 10 minutes.
I can't.
And damn, it feels like they packed about 15 minutes into it. Like it really was going. So Lex bleeds first, makes you worried about the state commission stepping in. We get that PTSD. Barry already showing us his claw, and that's it, his finisher, and punch of the ring post. Now he's got hand damage. It was very strongly giving me video game boss vibes. It was like, you've got to hit Lex in the head. Oh, Barry's taking limb damage. Like, it just felt like these two bosses battling and just wearing down, their thing until we get to the end of the match. The superplex back in the day was a badass move. You saw somebody come at the top rope for a superplex. That was special. Yeah. The belly to back as a finish with the shoulder up was weird.
Yeah.
Because after the previous match, it's just like
same.
Yeah. It was very odd. So, I mean, that's I think really my only complaint with the match was just that the ending was kind of just similar.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes you very aware of why George Scott is not long for this world. It's like, dude, clearly.
We'll do it every time, I guess.
Yeah, he's gone by probably literally. I think it's like the day after Clash 6. So we got one more episode of him at the helm, and then it gets really good. But yeah, the best part was not the finish or it was the end. And when he just fucking grabs Luger and just pile drives him on the belt, and I'm like, holy shit, that was amazing. So, he definitely got his heat back on the way out. He knew what he was doing. But hey, respect to Windham, man. At the time, WCW's a dumpster fire. If you're looking at it as a wrestler, there's no doubt you're like, I got to get to WWF. They're still hot at the time. It's like, I got to get on that TV because who knows with these guys. I mean, no one knew Turner was never going to pull the plug, So yeah, amazing match. Highly recommended. That one and the main event are the two you really should go out of your way to watch. Everything else you could live without, I would say.
Yeah, Rotunda and Steiner would be a fun match to watch. I think maybe especially if you haven't watched the other ones.
True.
To find just kind of the blow off of the feud.
Speaking of that, Rotunda's in the back, and I don't know if you caught this. He is this is exactly what he said, World Heavyweight World TV Champion. Fucking love it.
You got it, bro.
You got it, man. Hell of a promo. I wonder why they made you a tax guy. And then they go into a mid-show intermission moment with JR and Magnum. I thought this, again, like, very dated. It's like, we got a recap of a show we paid for. Very odd, Hey, by the way, in case you were, in the kitchen making food, we've seen 500 things that you paid for.
Yeah, with 2 matches left, let's give a quick recap of what's happened so far.
Bizarre. It couldn't have been a promo. Couldn't have had someone come out. Fuck, have Muta come in early and kill a guy. Something. But yeah, there you go. And that led us to the Road Warriors. You talk about a pop of pops against Kevin Sullivan and Dr. Death for the NWA tag titles. I loved this. But, you know, I like a good plotting fucking big man brawl situation. Those are always fun for me because it's just like punch kick, you know, just fucking potato the shit out of each other.
Yeah, it's just these big hosses just smacking each other around. But this match is about half as long as Michael Hayes versus Ass Asian.
Oh, my God.
So, like, it's just 8 minutes. Like, give me 15. I know they're all big and it takes a lot out of them, but just give me more of these guys. But I got something right there. I think it was too little. It was too fast.
Way.
But yeah, they're just beating the crap out of each other. The ending made me laugh because Dr. Death, the ring rope is like on his ass. He's hanging out of the ring so much, and he's acting like he thinks he's getting the pinfall victory. Like, his hand, I think, is touching the floor. He's so out of the ring trying to do that pin and somehow thinks, and again, for the 3rd straight match now, it's just pinfall confusion of who got the pin.
Yeah. This was bizarre. I was like, and then here's the other one. They didn't really explain why they went with who they went with. You know, like outside of just, all right, well, they retained the belts. You're like, but didn't I just see why did we even do it then? Why did we do this at all?
Yeah, it was just so weird. Yeah, it's like we don't have a conclusive ending, and I don't need to see the 2 tag team champions battling each other.
Yeah,
not the Samoan SWAT team on the horizon.
Exactly. Let's fucking throw some belts on those guys. Speaking of throwing a belt on a guy, Luger's in the back before the main event with a very sullen promo. There's no other word to me. He's like the champ. You know, granted, he did get dropped on his head, but it's like, you really, brother? You're on top of the world here, U.S. champion, and you're just kind of like, yeah, you know, Bob, it's just G-shucks. Like, what? It's so weird. Like, Dusty would have never let this go. He would have been like, you stand there strong, holding the neck, like, fuck you, Barry. Like, that would have been the deal.
I really let my family down by winning the U.S. championship. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad.
Sorry. But, you know, as Magnum reiterated to all of you at TV or at home watching TV 58 times, me as the U.S. champion basically means I'm the de facto world champion.
The same.
Oh, man. And this is a mess. And they end up not having a fucking clue what they're doing with Luger because they end up turning him not too long from now, which feels crazy. And at this point that like Luger's like top babyface right now. And within, I want to say 2-3 months, he's a heel, and it's kind of bizarre, but either way, that leads us to the canary in the coal mine of this whole thing, which has been Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat. We finally get it in the ring for the world championship. This is great. You know, I came into this thing like, I'm not just going to put it over blindly. I'm really going to watch this thing. It's fucking great. It is literally unbelievable. Everything here is great. Everything they do. I mean, from the very beginning, it is just to the races, just pinfalls attempts. I mean, they put over in this one as much as any match, and they end up doing the same thing in the other two, I would say, of putting over, this is about winning a match. I'm not here to beat the shit out of somebody. It felt very, back in the day, the MMA equivalent would be George St. Pierre, how he wouldn't go for the knockout. And that's how Flair was at this time. And I do appreciate that aspect to him. And I really, it made me understand Flair in a way that I hadn't really looked at it before. And I was like, wow, you know, that is kind of really what Flair's gimmick was at the end of the day. Hey, I don't have to beat you. You got to beat me. And I can fucking outwit you all way. Like Floyd Mayweather as well in boxing, right? He's that guy. And I thought this was a perfect matchup for him because Ricky Steamboat is the complete opposite. He's all offense, all go, all the time with the arm drags and the flying around. And this is, I think, Ricky Steamboat's greatest moment. not only because he wins the world championship here, but he is just on it like he was at WrestleMania 3. That may be the only time I would say Ricky Steamboat looked better, but I don't know. This is great.
Yeah, I mean, WrestleMania 3 would be the only comparable moment, but I mean, these two events are happening within 2 years of each other. So I mean, it's a pretty dynamite portion of your career at this point. I think we were talking before about how the Flair matches could get a bit formulaic, and I think when he gets that dance partner like Ricky or like a Sting, more can happen from that, as opposed to wrestling a Dusty or a Luger where some limits may be there physically. The match at beginning, I think Flair was kind of doing that hop out, hop in the ring, psychological thing. So it took me a second to kind of get into it. But yeah, once it starts hitting, these guys are just going reverses, just going back. I wrote down Hiro Matsuda. I don't know. Like, he's getting paid, right? Like, he's receiving a paycheck
because he did fuck all. I think
so.
He was there to hold the
there.
ring apron up, is what it looked like, because he did nothing.
Not helping him cheat, not doing anything.
Yeah.
He's just standing there being an evil Japanese guy. The belt is a $40,000 belt, so I was happy to hear that. And just Tommy Young, they keep talking about how he's ref of the year for 6 years running, or whatever. I'm like, he's like, kayfabe is not a good ref. Like, he misses a lot of shit. So or maybe just the thing is every other ref is even shittier than that.
Right.
But they just keep pressing those credentials to me. And I'm like, my eyes ain't matching up with that, JR. But yeah, I mean, it was just a great match. We end with the Steamboat win. He came in, January? So he got the rocketiest of rockets.
Oh, yeah. And two things about this match that you may not have noticed. I'm shocked you didn't bring them up already. A very important person in the front row for this one. You may not have noticed because he has the most epic fro of all time. And that is our boy Dave Meltzer. He is in the front row for this thing. And he is reacting to it all. And it's funny to see Dave, first off, as a young man. He's in his 20s here, I believe. And he's marking the fuck out, and it's like, it's cool to see that, because now he's too cool for school guy. He's Mr. Whatever you think of him. It doesn't matter really at this point, but it is cool to see that. And that was like an old, like, urban legend. I remember, like, no, it's Dave Meltzer. And for years it wasn't confirmed. And finally he just straight up was like, yeah, I was there. And then another one, and you definitely won't remember this motherfucker, because I was like, who? They put over so hard that the NFL halfback Brad Muster is here from the Bears to watch on. And I went, I don't know who the fuck he is. So sorry, Brad. You're the shits, bud.
Yeah, no, you are right. Brad Muster, I think his name got mentioned more than Barry Windham's.
Yes.
On this show. This kept bringing up. So yeah, I immediately had to go and check out his career. He lasted like 3 or 4 years. But
nice.
Yeah, JR with that. We got an athlete in the house. Boom.
Another thing JR did, though, and this was great, is he goes on this rant. It did end up being great, though, about how, Flair, he's the son of a doctor, and, he went to private school, and Ricky Steamboat, had to, his family had to, like, barely make ends meet, and he went to public school. And I was like, that is some great subliminal messaging of, like, fuck that other guy. We're going for Steamboat. And it just, on the backdrop of Chicago just being molten hot for this, it was like, this is fucking pro wrestling. Like, this is why JR is the greatest of all time, because no one else, I mean, Shivani's on that level as well, but like no one other than those two, in my opinion, Lance Russell maybe, people alive though, can do that. Like, make it human, make it beyond what you're seeing in front of you. And that's the thing, because people forget, this started on radio. You got to paint a picture with your voice. I thought that was amazing. And man, the fucking go home of this, you talk about just going all or nothing. I mean, they fucking turn it up. There's body presses missed. I mean, they're going, it literally is like a fireworks show at one point of just steamboats everywhere, doing chops, doing this. Amazing. I love the ref bump that makes you think, fuck, here we go again. I love that because they knew.
He took that bump hard.
He did. Good on Tommy. He fucking took it. He was always good with that too. And he, you know, it's on the heels of the body press miss. Flair's like, fuck yeah, I got it. Figure 4 gets the roll up, the classic Flair Achilles heel. 1, 2, 3. We got a new world champion. And Chicago, this is a pop of pops. I mean, this is as big of a pop as when fucking Road Warriors came out.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things when you have that dominating heel champion, especially for like Ric Flair. You know, he's got 17 during this era. He might have been like 10 or 13 even, and he'll carry it for 2 years, drop it for 3 months, pick it up. But it's when they get that win, when he loses finally, that crowd's gonna go ape shit.
Yeah, and it's perfect because I mean, immediately it's this huge deal. We have the backstage. I think it's a rip because it starts out just great, you know, the classic Steamboat's talking to Bob Caudle, and it's like a little bit of champagne. And I noticed, and I'm telling you, the fucking instigator was Rick Steiner. You see him in the corner at one point, like smirking, like, yeah, motherfucker. When I tell you they douched Ricky Steamboat with champagne, they were relentless. It was an assault of champagne on Ricky Steamboat to the point that they maced the man twice with it. He's literally wincing like, well, Bob, oh, fuck, my eyes. It's great to be the world champion, or it was a minute ago.
I'm going to be out for 3 months, retinal abrasions. You think these wrestlers, they spend their whole lives watching sports and seeing people celebrating the World Series, doing the champagne. They spend all these time thinking, what would I do? And Rick Steiner knows what he would do. I'm surprised he didn't hit him with a damn cork in the eye.
He probably thought about it, and they went, dude, you're going to kill him. The only thing that was of really importance at all of this promo is he immediately says it. The next championship match I have will be against you, Rick. I'm giving you your rematch. And that sets us up for Clash 6, which of course will be the next show. So, I mean, that was a nice little, they clearly, trying to button everything up, nice little, that's one thing George Scott was good at apparently, is tidying things up. Outside of that and being actually creative, he was the shits. But we only have a couple months of him, thank fucking God.
It's going to be interesting to see how this goes because, I mean, we basically hit 3 events in like 2 months. I mean, this is like over a month away. It's just interesting. They finally have a lot of time to build up to something. Will they do that? I hope so. I didn't look ahead to the card of Raging Cajun.
Ooh, I am now, and I'm not even gonna say anything other than we got Ranger Ross on the card, so that'll tell you that some rough times are ahead, people. Pretty rough. So
Wrestle
War, brother.
A lot of matches though. Ooh. Clash 6.
Yep.
We get Samoan SWAT team and then the Great Muta. Oh my Lord, Carter.
That's what I mean.
Whoa.
We're eating good.
That's great.
Junkyard Dog against Butch.
Yeah, I'm ready for that.
That'll be dope. So we got
Bob Orton.
Yes.
Let's see when he shows up for us.
Hopefully soon. It's got to be before this show.
Oh. Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik was my first favorite wrestler.
Oh my God.
And he shows up. I'm so excited. I'm actually very excited now for this next way too long television, I'm sure.
Yeah, folks. So that was Chi-Town. I don't know anything else you got for this. Thought it was really good.
No. Yeah, I mean, it was especially for the events we've been seeing lately. It was a fun card. A lot of similarities in the finishes. We got 2 good guys winning titles.
Yes.
So I mean that's kind of an interesting, especially at the top of the title scenes. So it gives some heel characters a chance to start challenging for the titles after having them on heels forever. So
yeah,
that should give us some interesting developments, you would think. We shall see.
let's fucking hope. So, yes, we are getting into the bright spot of 89. I feel like the end of spring going into the summer onward, for the most part anyway, 89 fucking rules. We're getting a lot of people quick too. I think that's what I like about it. We get a lot of new faces, like boom, 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 boom. You know, of course, we already mentioned fucking Muda, which is the big one to me. But then, of course, the Steiners are forming from this. We got a shit ton of people coming in. So, as weird of a show as this was for Chi-Town Rumble, we are setting up for some good shit. And, yeah, we hope you stick around and come back for more. Of course, as usual, We Are Troubles Weekly on the Blue Sky. We Are Troubles Wrestling Pod on Threads, Instagram. We're all over the place. And Jim, of course, has the coolest screen name ever, which is...
I am the JIMDB on your various socials.
Yes, sir. So, all right. Until next time, go watch.
Oh, wait a minute.
Stuff. Yes, please.
What? Clash 6 commentary by Jim Ross, Michael Hayes, and Terry Funk.
It's awesome. This is one of my favorite shows. I do remember that.
We will see you guys for that one next time, because that's going to be dope.
Yeah. Until next time, go fall into a rabbit hole of old wrestling, because you obviously can see that we will.